One. Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the Professor's Picks alongside the professor himself, Mr. Ken Golden. What's going on, man?
Well, happy Friday. It's a real Friday for a change.
It is a real Friday. We're actually taping on a Friday today.
Yeah.
That
So
doesn't happen all that often.
no, this is going to add. This is going to add right after this, right? So after right after
Yeah,
this.
we're literally going to get done taping, and then boom, it's going to go up on the channel. So yeah, so you guys are getting this as close to day and date as possible today.
This is the real deal.
This is it. This is it. It's almost done.
So I got a lot of stuff this week, and what else do I want to say? Yeah, a couple of things. One thing I want to talk about tariffs. So I think we might have touched on this about a week or so ago. So I just had an experience with tariffs where I brought in a shipment from the UK and then I got a walloping secondary bill from UPS. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it turned out I was hit up with a 10% tariff on CDs and vinyl records. I mentioned it to Mr. Feigenbaum. He had the same thing happen to him with a shipment from FedEx. Now, the problem is that CDs and music CDs and music and vinyl records are not subject to tariffs. So I'm in the middle of having a battle with UPS.
Yeah. So why would that? Yeah, that doesn't make.
Well, because maybe they don't know. Maybe the guy, the people at UPS, in fact, maybe they don't know yet. So I'm disputing it. Point is, this kind of goes part and parcel with what we were talking about the other day, and that is that you may notice on some of the imports, European imports, prices might be a little bit higher than they've been in the past. Not dramatically, but maybe a buck or two higher, depending on what it is. So I'm not happy about it, and neither should anybody. But and it's hard for me to not be political, but you know,
We all know what's going on out there. So yeah.
yeah. So that's it. So we are feeling it. So I'll start hitting the new stuff. There's a lot of new stuff, but I'll try and go quick. Let's see what we got here. Starting with pre-orders. We have one pre-order this week. Jacko Jaksic, son of Glenn. Did I pronounce his name right? I can never pronounce his name correctly.
Echo Jaksic, yeah, that's how I usually say it.
That's pretty close, right? New solo album. King Crimson member, has a long history in the prog community. Got Gavin Harrison playing on it. Louisa Patricia Crane is on it. So CD and vinyl coming June 27th. Inside Out, of course. All right, let's hit the regular stock CDs. New reissue of the first Agusa album, Hogtid. This is the album where I said, man, I'd love to sign these guys. So they had, if I remember, well, I guess it came out on Commune too, and back in the day. Now it's on Charisma. Charisma is reissuing all the Agusa titles, and this is actually a bit of a different lineup. I think there's only one member who's carried over. I think the guitarist. I'm not sure exactly who, but it's a, it's an absolutely great album. If you like the Scandinavian sound, the Norwegian sound, whatever, these guys, these guys are great.
They don't have a bad album.
No, no, even you know what? Even that soundtrack album, it's an oddball album, but it's a nice record.
It's good. Yeah, it's my least favorite out of all of them, but it's still really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. Yet another live album from Kozasui, Loppin 2024 live album. Great Scandinavian band. Sort of psychedelic jazz jams. This is a band that Eric should cover. They would fit. I would think. They're not. They're not Squeaky Feet or Humphreys McGee, but it's
No.
a different kind of a jam band.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, I agree.
So very good. Actually a pretty great band. So It's here, Cosmic Cathedral, Deep Water. So this is Neil Morse's album with Phil Keaggy, and who else we have there? Chester Thompson playing drums, and I haven't spent much time with it. You reviewed it, very kind of very Christian oriented, right?
Yeah, lyrically, yes. But, musically, it's what you'd expect from a Neil Morse project. It's got all the
20
usual flair. Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's good.
24-minute song or something, you know.
Yeah, I got the why it's longer than that, actually. But yeah.
Really? Well, okay. All right. Next, over to Spain. Exilo, Quantum Phase Transition. This was an interesting band. They have, I think they're like an Andalusian band. They're like a mix of contemporary prog with even some prog metal influences. But every once in a while, they kind of throw in like flamenco guitar that kind of surprises you. Uh, Good vocals. In a way, I was sort of reminded a bit of Riverside. I thought it was quite nice. So maybe even a little King Crimson. Some nice heaviness to it. Very good. A band that is not my bag, but some of you like this stuff. Eluveti, Eluveti. Did I miss?
I think the correct way to pronounce it is Eloise,
Of course.
which
And
that's never how I said it, but someone a couple of years ago said, no, it's Eloise is how they say it. I'm like, because I always call them Aluvity, that's
right.
long, yeah.
And to make things worse, the name of the album is Anv, A-N-V. So it's Swiss band, Beauty and the Beast metal, really, but with like a very strong folk element. I mean, they're good for what it is. It's just doesn't. That's not my bag. So quite popular too. Fulguromatic. This is a Spanish label on Marks. They keep finding these Spanish bands that have like a Canterbury influence. There was like they've had Amoeba Split, this guy Tom Penguin, and now this band Fulguromatic. Very, very good. Again, right out of the Hatfield in the North, National Health, Caravan, Soft Machine. You kind of throw it all into a pot, and this is what we come with. If I remember correctly, because I don't have it in front of me, uh, I believe it's a two-man band with some guests. Next, we have this one. This one is a wild card. So there's only I I ordered this blindly based on the lineup, and because it's on Lawson Records, which is the label that EH3 is on, and it's being pushed as jazz rock fusion. It's the Jan Gunnar Hoff group. It's called Voyage. He's a keyboardist. He's playing piano and electric keyboards. Win Lee on guitar, Per Matheson on bass, and Gary Husband on drums. So it's a hell of a lineup. And I was like going crazy trying to find sound samples, whatever. Finally, like late last night, they put one song up on Spotify, and I could confidently say this is a fusion album. So uh, all the references in the bio were to a fusion album, but until I hear it, I didn't really quite trust it. So but yeah, I mean, it sounded very, very good. And Winley, I mean, great guitar player. You like his stuff? I always miss, he was on Act Records from Germany. He's made some interesting albums over the years. Again, a fusion guy. So, and all these years, I've always mispronounced his name. So I was determined that for today, I would go online and say, what's the correct way?
Look it up, yeah.
Yeah, because I always called it Nguyen Lee, but it's pronounced Win, like W-I-N. Wen Lee. Okay, I'm sorry. I digress. I apologize. New one from Hawkwind. There is no space for us. And Dave Brock's got to be 97 at this point. And I listened to it. It sounded just like Hawkwind.
I mean, they put out an album a year, and it's like it's all good, right? It's just
It sounded like Hawkwind. I,
yeah.
I enjoyed it. You know, this point, maybe it's a guilty pleasure. I don't know, but we got them in, selling quite well. So I'm not alone. All right, solo album. This is a reissue of an old solo album by Zeus Beheld. It's called Zeus's Amusement. I believe it has some bonus tracks on there. He was the keyboard player in Birth Control for many, many years. And if I'm not mistaken, he developed like a second career as a producer and engineer. So this is from, I think it was like 78, 79, guessing. Next, Kron, Aladdin tapes. This is a live show, previously unknown to exist live show from 1980. It's about 80 minutes long, and there's nothing wrong with live Kron.
Good band.
Very good band. If you're a jazz rock enthusiast, prog rock enthusiast, I highly recommend Kron. New one from Liv Christine, Amor Vincent Omnia. Have not heard this one yet. Former singer from Leaves Eyes and the Beauty and Beast band that she had with Alex Crow. I don't know, was he her husband?
I don't think so.
They were just together. Yeah. So and then she departed, and if I'm not mistaken, her stuff went in a little more pop direction.
Yep. Yep.
Have you heard this one?
No.
I have not. I'm being led to believe this is sort of a return more towards the metal side. Next, this one was a nice surprise, also from Spain, again from that Marx label, Malabriega, Fripada Andaluza. Again, this is Andalusian prog, a lot of flamenco guitar on here, flamenco prog. You hear a little bit of Guadalquivir in here. You might hear a little Iceberg. So, there are vocals, by the way, Spanish vocals. Maybe a little Mesquita. I thought it was very nice, very nice. Electric guitar and acoustic guitar, and they play off one another. It's quite nice. All right, now Pete, you and I, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. No pun intended. I've got two reissues. Remember this band, Memory Garden?
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure I still have those.
Yeah.
At least
So
the second one you see. I don't know if I
yeah,
have now, but I definitely have the other one.
Verdict of Posterity, and then Mirage,
Yeah.
Swedish doom metal.
Yeah.
So if you're into like Count Raven and stuff like that, very man, back in the day, I sold a lot of these.
Like what, late 90s?
I think it was like 92.
Was it that early?
I think so. I could be wrong.
Those came out right around the time where those first like Tad Morose albums were coming out, if I remember.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, for me, I like the Tad Morose albums better because they were more progressive, a little more atmospheric. These are more straight ahead doom metal. But if you're a fan of the genre and you don't have these, I think you kind of need them. They were good. So these were reissued on Punishment 18 records.
Hmm.
Next, we got another Norwegian band, Oak, The Third Sleep. I listened to a little bit of this one. It's selling like mad. They're again in that sort of contemporary prog direction, I guess. If you're maybe like a Porcupine Tree fan, Oak they're your jam.
Yeah, one of my writers did a review for the website and gave it pretty high marks.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so this is kind of cool. This is a previously unreleased live show from 1981 from Klaus Schultz. It's called Bon Voyage. It's a 2 CD DVD. And the thing that's really cool about it is that it's with Manuel Gotching. So from Ashra Temple. I'm not sure why they didn't co-bill it, but it's released as Klaus Schultz. Apparently they had done a tour together, and this was culled from one of those shows on that tour. And what could be bad? I mean, I'm a Klaus Schultz fan. Add Manuel Gotching. Sold. Al Stewart live at Radio Bremen TV. This is from 1979. This is a CD and DVD. This is from the Time Passages tour. And man, I've got a real soft spot for Al Stewart. I think he's awesome. So saw him a couple of times. Saw him at St. John's University. Saw him at my father's place back in the day. Really, really good. Great singer. Still around.
Oh yeah.
And this was prime Al Stewart, 1979. Okay, last of the new stuff, I guess. Web, Plexus. This is kind of an oddball. So this is a band that I've been following for some time. German, sort of a supergroup, if you will. German jazz guys. And it's kind of weird because their thing has always been like spiritual jazz. And they've made some really, really solid spiritual jazz albums in that sort of late 60s, 70s vein. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to turn my customers on to something a little different. So let me bring in some copies. I didn't even, blind, without hearing it or anything. I just said, I'll get some copies. Turns out they added a guitarist and they decided to go in a completely different direction. So it's like a krautrock album. It's sort of like, it's got a little bit of that spiritual jazz element to it, but it's like spiritual jazz mixed with embryo.
It's different.
Yeah, pretty cool. So now we're going off into a different direction. I've set up a little subsection here. Strata East. So I want to talk about the Strata East jazz label. So Strata East, the legendary, very, very collectible label that was founded in the early 70s by pianist Stanley Cowell and trumpeter Charles Tolliver. And they took the name, Strata East is an homage to the Detroit label Strata, which was like a spiritual jazz funk label. And so they became Strata, they were based out of New York City. It was called Strata East. And very highly collectible label. They were an independent label. They did things a bit differently. After a period of time, rights would revert back to the artist, which was kind of uncalled for. Labels weren't really doing that. And jazz collectors over the years sort of attributed mythical status to the label. And there was a lot of great releases on Strata East over the years. And if you want to buy original copies, they cost you a fortune. So Mac Avenue, which is a very nice jazz label, they finally worked out a deal with Charles Tolliver and Stanley Cowell's still alive, I think so, and I think they're both still alive. And they worked out a deal, and they are now starting a campaign to reissue the Strata East catalog, or at least whatever they have access to. So apparently they still have a lot of master tapes that didn't go back to the artist because the artist didn't want them or they couldn't find them. And they've worked out legal licensing deals for these titles. My understanding is they've put out something like 32 titles today digitally streaming, but they did 4 titles on CD to be released today, and 4 titles on vinyl, one of which was held back and came out on Record Store Day 2 weeks ago. So I'll get through it. So here's what we got. Alphabetically, we got Stanley Cowell solo piano. This is called Musa Ancestral Streams. I've not heard this one. Again, solo jazz piano. It's considered to be one of the great solo jazz piano albums of all time. So if that's your bag, I know Chris Canzaneri thinks so. He ordered a copy last night. So we have this one on CD and vinyl. The next one is like a must own. This is Music Inc., which was Charles Tolliver's ensemble. And if you remember, we had the We had that Charles Tolliver album about what, about 2 months ago, I guess it was, something
Yeah.
like 2, 3 months ago, where that was from 1973, and that was a version of Music Inc. The lineup was the lineup was very fluid. So this is Charles Tolliver, Stanley Cowell, the great Cecil McBee on bass, and Jimmy Hops on drums. This is Live at Slugs Volume 1 and 2. This was originally released as two separate volumes on vinyl. Slugs is the famous jazz club in the East Village that was famous because Lee Morgan had a pretty bad fate at Slugs when he took a slug from his wife uh, at at Slugs, and she she took out a gun and killed him. She killed her husband, and she shot Lee Morgan to death at Slugs. Uh, great album, and now package is a double. So here's the deal: we have the vinyl in stock. The CD seems to be delayed. The distributor is still waiting for it and for copies. So as soon as I have it, I have them on order. So right now it's vinyl, 2 LP set, CD, single CD, imminent. Great record. Next, this is one you might like. Charles Rouse, Two is One, and believe Charles was a sax player, and he's this is kind of like this is one of the rare examples on the label where there's like an electric element. So you have Stanley Clarke playing electric bass on here, and actually I think there's some other people, and I purposely left this here on my desk because there's what the hell? Bear with me, folks. Yeah, Charlie Rouse. He played tenor sax. He played with Thelonious Monk. So there's all kinds of people on here. Why can't I say it? Joe Chambers is playing drums. Airto is playing percussion. Stanley Clarke. They spelled it without an e. He's playing electric bass. This is one of the good ones on the label. Next one, which is a pain in my ass because I had to get a copy. Pharoah Sanders, Isafo Zam, My Gifts. This was the one that was held back for Record Store Day on vinyl.
Gotcha.
So it's on CD, and man, this is it's like a mix of spiritual jazz and free jazz. All kinds of people playing on here. Sonny Fortune on alto sax, Billy Hart on drums, Cecil McBee on bass, Pharoah Sanders on sax and percussion, Majid Shabazz on drums, Sonny Sharrock on guitar, Lonnie Liston Smith on piano, Leon Thomas vocals. He warbles. Leon Thomas warbles. Other guys. Expensive album. It's the only album that Pharoah did for the Strata East label. My understanding is in the fall there's going to be another batch of titles, and if you stream, they've done some really phenomenal albums put out there. Clifford Jordan Quartet, Class B Games is out there. Heath Brothers, Marching On. There's all kinds of. It was a fantastic label, and it's just been a shame that it hasn't been available all these years. They've been off and on. There's been the occasional reissue, but now they're going to do something in an organized fashion, and the families are involved, and they're doing it right. I should mention Kevin. They got Kevin Gray to do the mastering for the vinyl. Chris Muth, who I used to cut my vinyl, is actually doing all the mastering for digital. So there you have it. Now I'll get into some restocks. We got back in the two Ekelin albums. Band did very well. They ran out. They sold out. Repressed. We just got them back. And I should mention, although I'm not displaying them, I've restocked all the in-print Ekelin catalog. I hadn't had some of them for years. So you want to do some one-stop shopping? Feel free. You can buy them all. We got them all in stock. Restocked the first two albums from Hooffoot, self-titled, and The Lights in the Aisle Will Guide You. Great Scandinavian band. Kind of like, I don't know, Soft Machine meets Mahavishnu Orchestra. So did you I know you bought the CDs. You enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. Okay, the vinyl, and then we're out of here. We got the Cause of Sui on vinyl. This is kind of strange, I guess, because of the length of it. They release it as an LP plus a bonus 10-inch LP.
No.
So it's like a 2 albums or 1.5 albums. We got Cosmic Cathedral on blue vinyl. Now, this is an odd one. The Jan Hammer Group live in Dallas. This is 1977. They didn't do a CD version of it.
Hmm.
It's vinyl only. So that was dumb. They did that. We got Hawkwind on vinyl. One of the great German jazz. One of the great German prog krautrock albums. Message from Books and Dreams. If you're a fan of Nectar, you kind of have to hear this album.
Yeah, that's pretty rocking too. It's good stuff.
It's a good album. They had an English singer, and yeah, 1973 is classic. We have the Klaus Schulze Bon Voyage. We have Soften the Glare, part and parcel. Soften the Glare is Bon Lazaga. This is his instrumental trio, kind of like, I guess, if you're a fan like of the Aristocrats, something like that, or Cosmo Squad, you would dig this. So it's vinyl only, and he selected tracks from their digital-ish streaming only releases. So that was the approach. And the last thing that we have is I Advance Masked, Andy Summers, Robert Fripp. This is the new remastered edition. We sold out of the Summers and Fripp the set, the 3 CD Blu-ray set, and that's what I got this week. It's a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. Wow.
I
Okay.
did a lot of talking, so I'm sorry.
Now you can take a breath, right?
Yeah. And next week we'll have some more stuff we got. I'll be packing these this week. So the new Flower Kings. People should know Jim's going to be on hiatus for a while, so I am working alone for the time being. So if things seem to be moving slightly slower than usual, have mercy. Don't send me nasty emails.
Have a little patience, people.
Yeah, the 65-year-old man is moving as fast as he can. But I got to tell you something, man. I still got it. The finger still got it.
Good.
So, I get those boxes folded up real time, fast. Get these suckers out.
What it's all about, right?
And just
Pack and
remember,
ship, pack and ship, pack and ship, pack and ship.
that's it. That's what I do. Pack and ship, pack and ship. Yep. And
Ka-ching,
then
ka-ching, 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 right?
and in between, we throw some new stuff up on the website.
There you go.
So we'll have
And
some stuff.
squeeze this in whenever we can, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Can I say one last thing? So if you've made it this far, I sent out an email blast last night that for the time being, because I'm working solo, I've stopped doing my weekly email newsletters, which is the opposite. It's the flip side to this. And I've been doing it forever. And just for time constraints, I kind of directed people here. Hopefully, Seed and Tranquility will pick up some subscribers, and hopefully you guys watch this maybe for the first time, enjoyed it, and you'll watch us next week also. So and eventually the newsletter will come back. But for right now, this is what we're doing.
It works. It works. So we'll have the whole list of what was shown today pinned down in the comments section below, along with lasercd.com, the link. So copy and paste to your heart's desires, and remember,
Buy a lot, buy often. I'm ready for you.
there you go. So keep Ken busy. He's busy.
Yes.
He likes being busy. He likes being busy.
Yeah. Hey, I got to tell you, being busy is good, man. Makes the day go by.
There you go. There you go. We've got coming up on the channel. We have tomorrow. We've got From the UK Connection, which is the side show that Stephen and Simon do all on their lonesome without me. That's twice a month. That's coming up, or is that monthly? Monthly? Yeah, I've lost track. I think it's once a month. So that's coming up tomorrow, along with Jamie Laszlo and the review crew, and then we've got three ranking the album shows coming up on Sunday. We got Brownsville Station, Zebra, and what is the other show that Lewis is doing?
Blank manuscript.
Blank Manuscript. That's right. So we've got three ranking the album shows coming up on Sunday. So a big busy day on Sunday, and I'm hoping. I just texted him just to confirm. And the next episode of Talking Jazz is also happening this weekend too. So Mike Antonelli is coming back on the channel. He and I are going to do a little retrospective on Wayne Shorter. So that's coming up Sunday, I guess, whenever we air it. So yeah, all that and more here on the channel. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. For Ken Golden, I'm Pete Pardo. Have a good weekend, everybody. See you next week here on the Professor's Picks. Have a good weekend.
Thanks again.